Hi everyone, welcome to the Project Truth Home Show. Today I'm joined by Grace.
Hi.
And Sean.
Hey everyone.
And we are going to talk to you a bit about the Project Truth hoodies and the leaflets that we give out on the Project Truth Roadshow. So Grace is, obviously she works for Spark at the moment, but she's also done various Project Truth outreaches in the past along with me. And Sean, unfortunately, hasn't managed to get on the actual roadshow. He applied this year, but obviously because of the COVID situation, we're now having to do it at home. But hopefully next year he'll be out on the streets joining us with our outreach. So yeah, Sean, so we normally all wear these Smurf blue coloured hoodies. They're very bright, very bold, very noticeable. I don't know if you've seen them in any of the videos, have you?
Yeah, I've seen them once or twice. Like, I noticed they got like some writing on it. I can't remember like what exactly it says. Like, what is that about?
Oh yeah, Grace.
Well, I've actually got a hoodie right here.
Oh.
So that's the kind of blue it is for those who can see well enough. So like Eden said, it's super noticeable if you're out on the streets. And the writing that you were talking about, Sean, is the writing on the back that says, for some of us, 10 weeks is a lifetime. And the reason that we use that slogan is because the majority of abortions that take place in Scotland happen at the 10th week of pregnancy or under. So that's kind of why we use that noticeable phrasing.
Does it make like a big impact? Like, how do people receive it?
Yeah, I think people are interested when they see it at first. They kind of like, it gets the conversation going because they're curious to wonder what it is that it means, and that's how you can kind of spark the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you've got like, when you're walking down a road and you see like 10 odd people in these bright blue hoodies, it's kind of automatically intrigues people. Louise calls it a Project Truth blue because it's kind of so bold. But it's really interesting. We do have a lot of people asking us, oh, what's that? What does it say on it? And for the most part, we have like really interested reactions. But I'll never forget one time on Project Truth, you went into a Starbucks. I didn't buy from the Starbucks because they support abortion, but I went to go and use their toilet. And as I got in there, I asked the person behind the counter, I was like, oh, can I please use your loo? And she took one look at my hoodie and she was like, you need to leave. And I was like, really? Why? I know. And she was like, because what you're saying on here, there are people around who are offended. And I kind of looked around and I was like, well, I don't see anyone offended. Would you like me to go and ask? Like, I don't see anything wrong. Like, there's nobody like taking offense to me. She's like, yeah, but it doesn't agree with our standards. This doesn't agree with our standards. It's offensive and you need to leave straight away. And so I wasn't able to use the toilet in Starbucks that time. So that's the only time I've ever really heard of a negative reaction from like the actual hoodies. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that underneath the slogan as well, you go through like there's tiny feet, and then it's the kind of developmental facts about an unborn baby at 10 weeks. So it's kind of things like heartbeat, arms and legs, fingers and toes, eyes and nose. So actually, I've worn this in the past into college before, just kind of going in for a coffee and then going to the library. And no one said anything to me, but I could 100% like feel the eyes like burning into the back of me. I'm actually surprised no one said anything, especially in a kind of educational environment. But yeah, it definitely, like I said, gets the conversation going anyway.
Has it been like the same hoodie design for like the number of years that this program's been running, or is it just for this year that it was blue hoodie with those words?
I think it's always been the iconic blue hoodie, as far as back as I can remember anyway.
It has. The very first year that I did it, which was the first year that Louise ran it, I think 4 years ago, we had a very dark blue hoodie, but with the same, but the light blue writing was like inverted. And so then I think Louise decided that she wanted to actually switch it and make the dark blue writing the light blue hoodie, just because it's more noticeable and it's kind of more, more out there. People are going to recognize it better. So, yeah.
Okay. So like apart from Starbucks where they're not keen on the hoodies, like when you're out on like the street, like how do you approach people? Like what's like the experience? Like how do you start the conversation, I guess?
Well, we used the Project Truth leaflets for that, but Eden, you're always really good in explaining the leaflets if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have the standard leaflets, and they're the way that, I mean, there are lots of different ways that you can start a conversation, and there are going to be a few videos about them as well, I think, during the week. But the one that I like the most is using the leaflets. So I'll get tons of leaflets, and I'll hold out a leaflet to people, and I'll basically say, well, it depends. I'll say either pro-life leaflet, which is like a human rights leaflet, can I interest you in having a look at this human rights leaflet? And that's the way that you kind of get people to stop, by kind of asking them the question, oh, do you have a minute to chat about this human rights leaflet? So a lot of people just take them and walk away. But if you kind of ask a question as you're giving them out, people will notice the blue, they'll notice the stall and everything, and they'll more likely be, you know, interested in stopping to actually have a conversation with you. So the leaflets, on one side, it has exactly what it says on the hoodie. It says, you know, for some 10 weeks is a lifetime, and then on the back it has like the developmental facts the same way that the hoodie does, but it also has like at the bottom a crisis pregnancy number and also a post-abortion care number, and for anybody who needs it. So it kind of gives a bit of brief explanation about the abortion laws in Scotland, which obviously is 24 weeks, but most abortions take place at 10 weeks, and obviously right up until birth in the case of disability. And that always kind of gets people's interest as well, and it is a really good conversation starter because most people don't know what's on those leaflets. It's only a small bit of information, but it really, really opens up the conversation, and I think it really is good at getting people's minds engaged because it's stuff that they haven't heard before or they never would have thought about before. So they're the ways that I like to leave the leaflets. Sometimes, you know, people will rip them up, throw them back at you, spit on you, and put them on the floor. But for the most part, they're actually really well received, yeah. But Grace and I had an experiment because we run monthly Project Truth stalls in the nicer weathered months. And so this March, just before the whole lockdown thing started, we did our first Project Truth monthly stall of the year, and we actually tested out some new leaflets. So basically we found that there were a lot of people who really appreciated numbers at the bottom of the leaflets, you know, the crisis pregnancy helplines and stuff. So we decided to develop like a trial leaflet where it had all the information about the unborn on the one side, but then on the other side was a complete page for the women specifically. And like, Grace, how do you think that went down? I think it was quite good.
Yeah, I actually think it was received a lot better. Obviously, one of the main ambitions of Project Truth is kind of informing the public about the humanity of unborn children. But see, when you kind of equalised it, so it was one half the unborn child and then the other half the women, I think it was received a lot more positively because instantly the public doesn't get this negative stereotype like, oh, you only care about fetuses, you don't care about women. And because it was very clear there that we did care about women and we wanted to provide we wanted to provide support for women and we wanted to provide resources for women. So I do think it was slightly more positive.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
That's good.
So yeah, but very much looking forward to seeing you next year, hopefully, Sean, if this thing doesn't carry on too long. But thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We hope you've got a bit of insight into Project Truth and also into some of the tools that we use to spread the pro-life message, for example, the hoodies and the leaflets. We hope you enjoy the rest of the home show, and thank you all for tuning in today. So take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah.